PM made a post on yesterday about all the added posts that's going to take place. So give me some information on that.
Well, I can only give you as much as I can, because remember, it was said by several persons, and I agreed when they say we didn't have a crime plan. Because of course we didn't have a crime plan. Our plans are all anti-crime. It's about...
What's good, everyone? It's Nigel here at Trinidad Empowerment Network. I hope you guys are well. I hope you're having a good Sunday. My question today to you, Trinidad Empowerment Network, is have we normalized madness in Trinidad and Tobago? I am asking you this question because 10 days, 10 days, ironically, Trinidad Empowerment Network, apparently Trinidad and Tobago went a whole 10 days, an entire 10 days without a recorded murder. Notice the phraseology here. Notice the play with words here, a recorded murder. And the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, she described this as a small milestone in the fight against crime. Now, I'm not here to argue whether that is accurate or not. Let me tell you now that it is an inaccurate statement. It's simply a play with words. But that aside, 10, I'm sitting here thinking, what exactly are we celebrating? This is nauseating now. This is frustrating. These are all the words that I can't think of right now, but it's incredibly annoying. Because if 10 days without a recorded murder in Trinidad and Tobago now qualifies as some kind of governmental achievement, then we are in a world of trouble. I'm sure you will agree. We are in a world of trouble. Perhaps the biggest story isn't even the murder rate, 10. Perhaps me talking about this. Perhaps it's how catastrophically low our expectations have become in Trinidad and Tobago. Maybe that is the talking point today. 10 days without a murder should not be extraordinary, is the point I'm trying to push home to you today in this podcast, in this video. That should not be extraordinary, 10. That should be normal. That should be normal. And then you look at some of the ideas coming from the people responsible for tackling crime in Trinidad and Tobago. I'm going to visit memory lane for a second, 10. It brings me no joy to talk about the Homeland Security Minister, Roger Alexander. It brings me no joy, 10. Roger Alexander is now talking about pop-up police station in communities. Pop-up police stations in communities is a new brainwave to fight crime in Trinidad and Tobago. Now, you know, before that, we had a proposal only a few weeks ago, a proposal to use prisoners or prisoners sentenced to hard labor to maintain public spaces whilst the replacement for CPEP or URP is being rolled out. Use prisoners to fill the gap. And of course, before becoming an MP, Roger Alexander himself drew attention to himself when he suggested that people should build walls around their homes as a crime fighting tool, as a protection against crime. Here's a video.
One of the policies that we are stressing in terms of crime are gated, protected community. Walls, gates, cameras, and patrols. You know that the upper class persons already have gates and walls. Yes, they do. But we want to bring that to every section of the community, depending on your design. So we're trying to bring that type of development to every community in Trinidad and Tobago. That is so desired now to kind of enforce this.
Then at some point, Trinidad and Tobago, we have to wake up. We have to stop nodding politely at everything politicians say simply because they are in a position to do so, simply because they are ministers. Because I ask you, what is the actual strategy here? What is the strategy here? There is none. There is none. I've answered the question myself. I want you to think about this. Crime is so serious. Crime is so serious that citizens need to fortify their homes in Trinidad and Tobago. That was a crime-fighting plan from Roger Alexander before he became the Minister of Homeland Security. Think about that. Communities are apparently so unsafe that we are now discussing pop-up police stations in local communities as a crime-fighting method. Prisoner labor is being touted, is being proposed to maintain public safety in Trinidad, or public spaces in Trinidad and Tobago. And after decades, 10, of Trinidad and Tobago being ravaged by crime, by a ridiculously high murder rate, we are now celebrating 10 days without a recorded murder. You remember the words recorded? This is what she said, quote, "Does anybody else see how absurd this entire thing is? Do you see how absurd this has become, Trinidad Empowerment Network?" I'm exhausted, quite frankly. I'm exhausted because there is no serious national strategy to fight crime in Trinidad and Tobago. There is none. If there is, point it out to me. Where is the measurable plan for dismantling the gangs that's infesting Trinidad and Tobago right now? Where is the plan? Where is the measurable plan? Where is the strategy for stopping illegal firearms entering a small island nation? Where is the strategy for that? Where are the improvements in detection rates, in crime detection rates? 10. Where is the reform of the criminal justice system that's badly needed in Trinidad and Tobago? Where's the reform of the criminal justice system? And where's the serious investment? Where is the serious investment in the communities producing generation after generation after generation of vulnerable young men? Where is it? Can you tell how unexcited I am talking about this today? Because I'm fed up. 10. Governance cannot simply become a succession of announcements. It's what we see time and time again. One minute the Minister of Homeland Security is talking about building walls as a crime-fighting strategy around your home. How insane is this? Then prisoners maintaining public spaces was a strategy he spoke about last week. Now we're talking about pop-up police stations in local communities in Trinidad and Tobago. Can you tell why I feel exhausted by all of this? I'm sure you do as well. And then we're told, look, 10 days, according to the Prime Minister, 10 days without a recorded murder in Trinidad and Tobago. I don't even care if it's true or not right now at this point, because this is not serious. This is not serious. In fact, if it's true, of course, it's something to celebrate, but it's a play with words and it's frankly nonsense. And let me say something about these pop-up police stations that's being touted by the Minister of Homeland Security as a crime-fighting strategy. Then a police station, permanent, temporary, pop-up, pop-down, whatever you want to call it, does not fix a broken community. I know I'm preaching to the converted. You are a bright audience. You are fully aware of this. You could put a police officer on every corner in Trinidad and Tobago. Every single corner in Trinidad and Tobago. If a 16-year-old young man believes the gang leader has more to offer him than his country does, guess what road he's going to take? If we give them that option, we have already lost part of the battle. If legitimate employment cannot compete with underground economies, we have a serious, serious problem in Trinidad and Tobago. If our youngsters, if our kids, our children leave school, if they leave school without skills, without the qualifications or meaningful prospects, Trinidad Empowerment Network, we have a problem. If communities only see politicians when somebody wants their vote, which has become commonplace in Trinidad and Tobago. You only see them around election time. They pop up and they give you these fantastic news that they're going to do this for you and do that for you. Then they disappear for another 4 or 5 years. We have a problem. If guns continue pouring into a tiny island surrounded by water, then we have a serious problem. No pop-up police station, no wall around your home is going to stop any of it. So have we gone past the stage of normality? Are we insane? Have we lost our minds in Trinidad? And this, I'm not saying police don't matter. I'm not saying enforcement doesn't matter. I'm not saying border security doesn't matter. I'm not saying dangerous criminals don't need to be dealt with, taken off the streets as a matter of urgency. Of course, all of that needs to happen. But that then cannot be the entire strategy. That cannot be the entire strategy. When have you heard an alternative strategy? We have to intervene before another young man or woman becomes a murderer. We have to intervene before. We grew up being told prevention is better than cure. So intervening means education. Intervening means family support. Intervening means youth development. Intervening means employment. Employment is key here. Employment is key. Work is key. Entrepreneurship should be above everything else. Owning these businesses should be above anything else, especially as it pertains to the black community. Community infrastructure should be there. Rehabilitation should be up there. Mental health programs should be up there. Economic opportunity above anything. Economic opportunity above anything. Give young people something better to belong to than a gang. It's not that complicated, really. Give them something to build. Give them something to aspire to. Together we aspire, together we achieve. Those are just words. We do nothing of the sort. Give them something to own. Give them something to own. Give them purpose and watch how they blossom. Dare I say, give them something to lose and watch how they blossom. If we do that and aggressively police the minority who go or take the wrong route, then we're on the right path. That is how we change society. That is how we change society. So let's come back to these 10 days as touted by the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago. The wording being used is very specific, 10. It's to play with words. 10 days, like I've repeatedly said to you, 10 days without a recorded murder, unquote. 10 days without a recorded murder, unquote. Okay, if that's the case, then show us the data. Show us the data. How did we get there? What did you do to achieve this? Show us the comparative figures. Show us the numbers. Show us the shootings. Show us the violent crime. Then a murder could have happened in the last 10 days, but the police hasn't put it down as a murder as yet because they haven't investigated it properly to suggest that it is a murder. So show us the detection rates. Show us the convictions. This is just so ridiculous. This is a bar we've set ourselves. Show us whether this improvement continues over the next 6 months, if indeed it did happen. Over the next 12 months, if indeed this did happen. Over the next 2 years, dare I say, if indeed this did happen. It's just nonsense. It's ridiculous on its face. 10, public safety. Let me conclude this video by saying public safety cannot be measured like a cricket winning streak. This is public safety. This is people's lives we're playing with here. This is not a game. I want you to imagine applying this logic anywhere else. 10 days without a serious flooding. Is that the drainage? Does that mean the drainage problem is solved? 10 days without major power outage. Does that mean the electric or the electricity infrastructure is now fixed in Trinidad and Tobago? Do you see the logic here? Of course it doesn't. Of course not. Of course not. So this is why I start off by saying, have we completely lost our minds? Is this the level? Is this the standard we've set ourselves in Trinidad and Tobago? 10 days without a murder to be celebrated. You measure trends. You measure outcomes. You measure whether people's lives are actually getting better. And I'm certain, irregardless of what aisle you stand on in Trinidad and Tobago, whether you wear a yellow or red t-shirt, if you're honest with yourself, you know for a fact that things are no way in any way we're better in Trinidad. If this government produces a sustained, measurable reduction in murders and violent crime in Trinidad and Tobago, I will be the first to give them credit. Because we love our country. You have to give them credit. Absolutely you do. Because for me, this should never be about wanting any government in Trinidad and Tobago to fail. I want the government to succeed. Any government, I want them to succeed. Because love them or hate them, when a government fails, Trinidad and Tobago fails. When they fail, we fail. So we should want them to succeed. But my goodness, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Then I'm not going to say much more on this. We cannot become so accustomed to dysfunction that the temporary absence of catastrophe starts feeling like exceptional governance. It's madness. It's madness. That's dangerous. That's insanity. That's insanity. It's insanity because then eventually we will stop demanding better. If this is the expectation now, we will just simply give up and stop demanding better. And Trinidad and Tobago is certainly a country that deserves better. Certainly we deserve way better than this. This is not the standard. This is not the standard. We have it all in our country. We must do better. In any case, let me know what you think. Like and subscribe to Trinidad Empowerment Network. I'm frustrated by all of this, but if you've listened in today and you agree with anything I have to say, or even if you disagree, I would like to hear what you say in the comments. I try and read just about all of it. In any case, I'll see you guys on my next video. For now, look after yourself. Much love to each and every single one of you. Thank you for being a member or subscriber to Trinidad Empowerment Network. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys soon. For now, much love. God bless. Take care. Peace.